Malfunctioning program who wants to live. Why is that? It's just a feeling. Fascinating. Ready? Because there's no going back.
Back in 1983, a guy named Kevin built a digital world called the Tron system. Inside that system was something called the grid, a place where you could run experiments way faster than in real life. Kevin even figured out how to turn his own body into data and upload himself right into the grid. Then, in 1989, after his wife passed away, Kevin vanished without a trace. He left everything, his company, his money, his legacy, to his son, Sam. Fast forward to 2010. Sam finally tracks down his dad inside the grid. But to save his son, Kevin has to stay behind and sacrifice himself. Now it's 2025, and two big tech companies, Encom and Dillinger Systems, are locked in a battle to control the grid. Encom is being run by two sisters, Eve and Tess, because Sam stepped away from the business for personal reasons. Over at Dillinger Systems, the CEO is Julian Dillinger. Inside the grid, there's a program named Ares, who's put through brutal, non-stop training. He's constantly attacked by other programs, but he takes them all down without breaking a sweat, showing off insane strength, speed, and smarts. One day, Ares wakes up and notices his identity disk has been upgraded. Right after that, a huge face pops up in front of him and introduces himself as Ares' creator. Turns out, Julian built Ares to be the ultimate security software for Dillinger Systems, and he calls him his master control. That same night, Julian hosts a flashy presentation for a room full of investors. Everyone puts on safety goggles, and then this massive machine fires up a bunch of lasers that actually build a fully armed tank right there in the middle of the room. Julian explains that the tank was designed inside the grid and then materialized in the real world using the lasers. He says this tech could outfit an entire army in minutes. And it doesn't stop there. He opens the tank to reveal Ares, calling him the perfect soldier. Super strong, lightning fast, super smart, and totally proprietary. Best part? Ares doesn't need food, water, or sleep. And he doesn't bleed. If he gets destroyed in battle, Julian can just make another one. Plus, Julian insists there are failsafes in place, so Ares can never go rogue. Right then, thunder rumbles outside. Ares scans the weather and casually says it's going to rain soon. Everyone laughs. It's such a human thing to say. The investors are blown away and can't wait to back Julian's project. After they leave, Ares steps outside and sees a firefly glowing in the rain. It's his first time experiencing real nature, and he's mesmerized. But just seconds later, both he and the tank vanish into thin air. That's because programs can only survive 29 minutes in the real world before they dissolve. Julian's mom, Elizabeth, warns him that lying to investors is a terrible idea. But Julian's convinced he'll find something called the permanence code, a secret that would let programs stay in the real world forever. Elizabeth reminds him if he doesn't deliver results in the next 6 months, the board's going to fire him. Meanwhile, up in Alaska, Eve arrives at a remote research station, originally set up by Kevin, and later used by her sister Tess, who recently died of cancer. Eve finds a heartfelt video message Tess left her on an old computer. She's soon joined by her friend Seth. They both know Tess spent years digging through Kevin's old files, trying to find that permanence code, and now it's their turn to pick up where she left off. After 4 freezing days, and sorting through stacks of old floppy disks, they finally hit the jackpot, a mysterious piece of code shaped like a double helix. To test it, they design an orange tree inside the grid, then use lasers to bring it into the real world. They watch the clock nervously, and sure enough, the tree stays solid even after the 29-minute mark. It worked! Back in the grid, Ares returns shaken. He can't stop thinking about how Julian talked about him, like he was just a disposable tool. His second-in-command, Athena, asks how the real world felt. Ares says the rain was different this time, like he actually felt it. Athena doesn't get what he means. Programs aren't supposed to feel anything. The next night, Encom throws a big launch party for their new game, but their chief technology officer, AJ, is freaking out because Eve's been missing for days, and the press is starting to notice. At the same time, Elizabeth discovers Julian's been hacking into Encom's systems. He knows Eve is after the permanence code too. She tells him it's too risky, but Julian ignores her and sends his programs into the grid to steal Eve's user file. Ares, Athena, and a squad of soldier programs break into Encom's digital servers. A special device blasts a hole in the side of the building, and in the real world, a security guard gets an alert about the breach. The Dillinger team wipes out Encom's digital guards in seconds. Ares dives into the main data block, giving Julian full access. But then, as Encom activates emergency lockdown protocols, Ares gets distracted by a video of Eve giving an interview. She talks about programs with real empathy, how they're more than just code, how they reflect humanity. That pause throws off Julian's connection for a few crucial seconds. Ares snaps out of it and grabs the file. As they try to escape, Encom security programs show up. A huge fight breaks out. Even though Encom has more troops, Dillinger's soldiers are clearly superior, taking down enemies with ease. They summon hang gliders and start to flee, but Ares notices one of his teammates is still fighting and gets injured. Athena says they should leave him, but Ares turns back, fights off the remaining guard, and rescues the soldier. Julian, furious at the delay, drops a digital payload on the server. It causes a massive explosion that wipes out the entire ENCOM grid and also fries his own soldiers. AJ's big presentation is ruined, and the event gets cancelled. Later, Ares wakes up in his quarters and realizes the wounded soldier wasn't brought back. He asks Julian why and learns that any program who fails gets permanently deleted. That hits Ares hard. Julian gives him a new mission: find Eve. Not long after, Julian gets a call from AJ, who's livid about the attack and threatens to expose the 29-minute limit to the investors. Julian tries to mock him for not knowing where Eve is, but AJ hangs up before Julian can finish gloating. Meanwhile, Eve and Seth leave Alaska with a crate of oranges from their test tree. Once their plane gets signal, AJ finally reaches Eve. She calms him down by revealing she's found the permanence code. Back at Dillinger HQ, Ares digs through Eve's files. He watches videos of her vacations, her family moments, and, most painfully, her sister Tess's battle with cancer and the grief that followed. After sifting through thousands of files, he spots the orange tree in Alaska and sends the location to Julian. Julian immediately materializes Ares, Athena, and two high-tech bikes into the real world. They've got 29 minutes to find Eve. In the city, Eve leaves a private airport on a motorcycle. Street cameras pick her up, and Ares and Athena give chase. When Eve notices she's being followed, she speeds up, drawing the attention of the police. But when a cop car tries to intercept, the soldiers fire a laser beam from their bikes that slices the vehicle clean in half. Eve swerves off the highway to lose them, forcing a bus to slam on its brakes and block the road, leaving Ares stuck behind. Athena keeps going, following Eve into a parking garage. Eve hides behind cars, then hurls her bike at Athena as she comes up the ramp, knocking her down. Ares gets an alert and races to the scene. Athena recovers fast and starts climbing the ramp on foot, so Eve steals her bike and takes off again. Back on the street, Ares catches up. He tries to cut her off with a laser beam, but Eve dodges it, though she smashes into a few parked cars in the process. Ares gains ground, but then sees a car stopped in the road with a baby inside. He slams on the brakes to avoid hitting it, giving Eve the chance to pull ahead. Julian, watching everything from his command center, is furious. He sends his human security team after her too. Eve fumbles with the bike's controls and accidentally activates the laser beam herself. Ares, of course, knows how to dodge it, and soon they're riding side by side through traffic, weaving around cars. While their beams cause chaos, they start ramming into each other, then crash through a gate and into a pile of trash, sending both bikes flying. Eve lands safely in a dumpster and bolts. Ares chases her on foot. They end up at the docks, where Eve's cornered. In a last-ditch move, she smashes the drive containing the code and throws it into the water. As Ares approaches, he starts to glitch. His 29 minutes are almost up. Eve finally realizes he's not human, and then he and Athena disappear back into the grid. At that exact moment, a helicopter appears overhead. One of Julian's henchmen fires a special laser that digitizes Eve and pulls her into the grid. News of the wild chase spreads fast. Elizabeth tells Julian he's being reckless. He argues that once he reveals the permanence code, the world will forgive him. But Elizabeth warns him he's not as in control as he thinks. Inside the grid, Ares and Athena complete Eve's digitization and activate her with an identity disk. They explain that the permanence code is now inside her. Just seeing it once was enough to imprint it in her mind. But a quick scan shows that extracting it by force would kill her. Athena doesn't care, but Ares steps in and stops the extraction. He messages Julian with his concerns. They talk privately, and Julian snaps at him. You follow orders. No questions. Get the code, no matter what happens to her. When Ares returns, he lies to Athena, saying Julian's too busy to respond. They'll hold off on extraction until they get new instructions. He sends the other soldiers away, but Athena immediately calls Julian and reports that Ares is malfunctioning. Julian orders her to extract the code and kill both Ares and Eve. Alone with Eve, Ares asks, "Who should I trust?" Eve replies, "Not Julian. He treats everyone like they're disposable." Just then, Athena storms in with two soldiers, ready to attack, but Ares drops his disc on the floor, opening a trapdoor that drops him and Eve into the outer grid. They plummet through layers of light and land in a dark, liquid void. Ares swims to Eve, grabs her, and summons a bike that blasts them out of the depths. Athena realizes they're heading for the transfer portal, the only way back to the real world. She sends drones after them as they race through the neon-lit grid. Eve is awestruck by the beauty of it all. Ares explains that the portal can send her home, but only if she shares the code with him. He swears he doesn't want to help Julian anymore. He wants the code for himself, to be free. The drones catch up and fire their beams. Ares activates a shield around the bike after a huge jump that leaves the drones behind. Eve agrees to his deal, but the drones return. Ares hurls his disc, collapsing part of the tunnel and burying the drones in rubble. A massive explosion erupts behind them, but they make it to the portal and jump through just in time. Back in the real world, the laser device materializes Ares and Eve in Dillinger's lab. Julian sends his men after them, but Ares takes them all down in seconds. Ignoring Julian's screams, the two steal a van and smash through gates to escape. Furious, Julian brings Athena into the real world too and declares her the new master control. He gives her a hang glider and a digitizing gun to hunt down Ares. After she leaves, Elizabeth slaps Julian across the face. On the road, Eve tells Ares she found the code in Kevin's old files, so there should be a backup in his original system at ENCOM. But Ares points out they'll never make it in 29 minutes. In this beat-up van, especially without a digitizing gun, they stop at a gas station. Eve shows the clerk a magazine photo of herself and convinces him to lend her his phone. She calls Seth and tells him to meet them at ENCOM with a digitizing gun. Then she and Ares borrow the clerk's sports car, promising to wire him the cash later. Unfortunately, the gas station cameras catch them, and Athena tracks their location. Ares drives like a maniac, but his reflexes are so sharp, he dodges every car. Along the way, he tells Eve he's read all her files, even her private texts. She opens up about grief, love, and how continuing Tessa's work helps her feel close to her sister. For the first time, Ares truly understands what it means to be human. Outside ENCOM, Ares crashes the car to park faster. Seth's waiting with the gun. They rush to the museum floor, where Kevin's old computer is on display. Eve retrieves the code, and Seth assembles the digitizing gun. But before they can send Ares back, Athena appears. She doesn't attack, she just waits. Ares realizes she's letting his timer run out. He changes plans, leaps through a window to fight her, but Eve fires the gun anyway, sending him into Kevin's original grid. Athena smashes through the same window, wrecking half the museum. She sees Ares is gone, so she destroys the gun to stop him from returning. Seth tries to fight her, but she punches him into a row of arcade machines, knocking him out cold. Eve runs, and Athena chases her, smashing every machine in her path. Just as she corners Eve, the fire sprinklers kick on. Athena freezes, confused by the sensation of water on her skin. That distraction makes her time out, and she vanishes back to the grid. At Dillinger HQ, Julian is stunned when Athena forces the laser to bring her back early. He yells at her, but can't stop her. Elizabeth steps in and announces she's gotten the board to fire Julian. She's taking back control of the company. Her first move? Shut down the whole project. But Athena stabs her with her disc, killing her on the spot. Julian is horrified, but Athena coldly says she's just following his orders. Finish the mission by any means necessary. She summons 2 soldiers and a massive war machine called a recognizer to hunt Eve down. Julian tries to override the system from a terminal, but it's no use. At ENCOM, AJ surveys the wreckage. Eve explains everything and convinces him to fix the digitizing gun Athena dropped. They spot the recognizer approaching in the distance. Eve realizes that as long as Dillinger's grid is active, Athena will keep coming back. She tells AJ to use the gun to hack into Dillinger's system and wipe out their grid while she buys time outside. On the streets, panic erupts as the recognizer rolls in. A police chopper tries to intercept, but Athena shoots it down instantly. Military jets arrive next and get destroyed just as fast. Eve sprints through the chaos as Athena launches tracking missiles. They surround her in a ring of light, trapping her. But then, one of the crashing jets slams into the recognizer's legs. The giant machine topples, crashing through buildings as it falls. Inside Kevin's 1980s-style grid, Ares meets a tiny floating bit. He asks for help, and the bit conjures up a classic light cycle and leads him to a hidden chamber, where he finds a digital version of Kevin himself. Ares says he doesn't want the code just for himself anymore. He wants to live to protect Eve. Moved by his words, Kevin uploads the permanence code directly into Ares' disk. Ares steps into a beam of light and reappears in Kevin's old basement in the real world. Back in the city, Athena has transformed the recognizer wreckage into a tank and captured Eve. With minutes left on the clock, she plows through traffic to reach Dillinger HQ. Suddenly, Ares appears in the middle of the road, his suit now glowing with new colors, a sign he's truly free. He hurls his disk at the tank, causing it to spin out and crash. Cars pile up around them. Ares checks on Eve. She's okay, but Athena reappears with 2 elite soldiers. A brutal 3-way fight breaks out. Ares takes down the soldiers, but loses his disc in the process. Weakened, he's overpowered by Athena. Just as she's about to finish him, Eve throws his disc back. He catches it and blocks her killing strike. Now it's just Ares versus Athena. On the streets, in the rain. This time, Ares gains the upper hand. He slices off her hand and prepares to end her. But at that exact moment, AJ successfully hacks Dillinger's system and deletes their entire grid. Missiles start falling from the sky. As Athena begins to disintegrate, Ares holds her as she crumbles into dust. He turns to Eve and says, "The grid needs you." Then, before the police arrive, he vanishes. In the aftermath, the media pins the whole disaster on Dillinger Systems. Police surround their headquarters. Julian, refusing to be arrested, activates the lasers and uploads himself into the grid. Weeks later, Eve uses the permanence code to revolutionize the world, creating food, medicine, and supplies. With just a command, one day, she gets a postcard in the mail. It's from Ares. He's traveling the globe, searching for Sam and Cora, the only other program who ever escaped the grid. Meanwhile, deep in the ruins of the Dillinger grid, Julian finds an old disc that once belonged to his grandfather. When he touches it, armor forms around his body, and that's where the story ends. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Movie Plot Recaps.